Well, that was interesting.
GMGM.
Hope you are bueno, the fun will rain on the whole day. From the Gulf to the mountains, the city lights and fountains, we hope your birthday's excellent. You are another year older, so perhaps you should be generally awesome.
It just occurred to me what's playing.
You! Happy birthday, robot birthday girl.
GM to you too.
Happy birthday, robot fish girl.
Happy birthday,
Thank
RFG. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to Noun O'Clock live at the Noun Square. It's a combo show today. We've got Davin here from Nouns DAO Africa. This is typically when they do their thing, and we're going to do a combo space today. But first, in a minute and 10 seconds, we've got to look at the Nouns DAO auction. Noun 603 is up for grabs. Currently has a bid of 30.59 ETH. It's a beautiful hoagie hoodie, as we said yesterday. Beautiful sandwich, first sandwich head ever. 54 seconds left on the auction. Looks like it's going to go for this price. Please come and play FOMO with us afterwards. We're going to try to mint the new noun of the day. Davin, what are we going to try to do? We want some kind of an African noun, maybe a zebra, something like that.
Well, I think that's the closest noun we have, and maybe just to say that's the earliest things we want to do is like if we can get some more African heads in here so that we can form some more African heads.
All right,
that would be beautiful. But I think we can try to get the zebra today. Let's try to get the zebra.
Sounds good. Well,
yeah, pink.
Let's do it.
Pink to the noundry. Pink to the noundry.
All right, we'll do our best. We're going to go play in 14 seconds. Come play with us, fomonouns.wtf. If you're just joining, please retweet the room as well so that we get more folks in here. It helps us to do a bit of marketing for the show here so people know what is going on. Yeah.
We've got 5 seconds.
Let's go. We're playing. We got a cash money egg, some wet cash.
That's an expensive egg, which is happening here in the.
Why did you guys vote for?
Somebody's trying to settle already.
What is going on?
What?
You got the egg?
I don't know.
It must have been the new nouner.
I don't know what. No, it was consensus. 9 people voted for that egg. I don't know why.
Why?
It's the famous African egg, Devin. You know, the egg.
It's showing it as we missed it for me.
Interesting. No, I saw consensus. 9 voted for and 2 voted against. Anywho.
Well, luckily, we do have something we can still do in 30 seconds. If we go to nomo.wtf, NOMO.WTF, I'm not seeing a zebra or any of the other African heads.
Well,
but
there's a world. So we could be like
there's a world that's
world.
There's a yeah. I was going to say
in the world.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm going to go for the vampire bat. I've got to.
WTF. Choose your character. Let's go.
Choose your character, and we're going to Nomo. I'm going for the vampire bat. I liked it too much. Oh, I really like the jellyfish pie, though. We could also get the head that is definitely a burro. Oh, wait, no, it's gone. Never mind.
I see what you're doing there, Davin. The CCO world. I get it.
I like the CCO world. That's what I'll go for if my vampire bat doesn't make it.
The skull's pretty nice, too.
And it's looking like the CCO world is probably going to win it. My Nomo is also lagging, which doesn't help. Yeah, my world is going to get eliminated.
Zero world versus floating skelly head. Who's going to win? I have a weakness for the floating Nomo head.
I also have a weakness for the floating heads. I really like that. Yeah. Wow, almost 3 times. Almost
that,
3x victory.
Well, it's a
You know
little.
that pain you feel when normal doesn't go your way. It hurts, but I'm gonna get this.
It's a nice skull. I mean, what can you say? It's nice. The eyes match the shirt. The head is floating. You know, if you came around the corner and you saw this guy, you'd be shocked, to say the least. So anyway, nice Nomo 604. If you'd like to mint it to remember you were here, you can do so. 0.069 ETH. You can mint it as an open edition. Remember that you were here with us. It's just a for fun thing. And also you'll enter yourself into a draw tomorrow for an open edition, as someone will be chosen later today from a lucky Nomo mint yesterday to win exactly that. Thanks for playing with us. It sucks to get rugged on FOMO at this time of morning. We would love here in the EST time zone to move it forward just a tad,
Yeah.
but apparently someone else had different things in mind and wants to torture us and keep us here at 6 a.m. And so we have an egg. Can I offer you an egg during this trying time, said someone as they FOMO'd us on the very first block. But alas, here we are. As I was saying before we started playing FOMO, today is a combo space because we have Davin here from Nouns DAO Africa. Typically, their Twende spaces has been at this time, Twende Noun Africa. And so today, Davin wanted to do a combo space, 21 questions about Nouns DAO from Twende Nouns in Africa. So, Davin, welcome, and tell us a little bit about what you wanted to do here today.
Yes, I'm glad to be here. You know, reminds me of that meme of Spider-Man pointing at himself, that kind of thing. So, but let's get on with it. I have to just say happy birthday. By the RFG, before I start the show, I really think, yeah, we have a gift for you that we want to give you in your ETH address. But then I realized that someone else has this NFT, and that is Clement. I actually initially sent it to Clement. As you guys know, Nouns DAO Africa was initially an idea from the TNS, and we came up with a Build a DAO token, and it's what we've been using. And one of those tokens has a Congo flag. So I don't know. So maybe you want to talk about your deep history with Africa RFG on your
I mean, I
birthday?
can. Yeah, no,
Let's start with that.
If you want to, I've always had I've always been really interested in getting nouns going in Africa because I actually have dual citizenship between the U.S. and the Democratic Republic of Congo, because my dad worked there for years. So I actually that's where I learned French, was in Kinshasa. So even now, when I speak French to people, they get they get a weird look because like I'm brown, but I'm not that brown. So then people hear me speak French and it's like, why do you have a Congolese accent?
And I
so
like that.
It's a lot of fun, but yeah, picked up a few languages over there.
This is like one of those coincidences. You can't believe it. It's like, essentially Nouns DAO Africa, you'd say the connection was RFG. So happy birthday, RFG.
Thank you. Yeah, I noticed that I was in contact with a lot of folks like in Africa, but all in different places. And so I was like, look, it's not all one country, but one, people in the US, half of them don't know that. Two, there's it's worth trying to get as many people as you can into this group. And so I tried to connect as many people as possible. And I'm glad to see, and I think most of those, like, taking credit for it would feel disingenuous because I feel like 90% of the people that I introduced to each other were like, yeah, I already know them. But I was still really cool to see all of these different people like get together, and it's like, oh yeah, there's common cause here to bring nouns to this continent that it wouldn't normally get to, and where frankly the funding that you can get through nouns can go a hell of a lot farther. Between all of the things that you're able to do. So I don't know. I really like it, and it makes me happy that it exists.
Yeah, anyway, I think we can get into the 21 questions. I realize I'm not a co-host.
I want to know what those 21 questions are. I could barely sleep.
Yeah, I have like 10 already with me here, and 10 more are coming from the audience. And I mean, no, not 10 more, 11 more. coming from the audience. I wanted to, Tori, can you make me co-host? And I don't know, pull some people on stage.
Absolutely.
I see we have, Nouns DAO Africa. Don is here. Maybe Don, you wanna go first and drop the bombshell that you just dropped in Discord a few minutes back, and then as I bring up everyone on stage.
GM, guys.
GM.
Happy birthday, Robot Fish Girl. It's nice to see you getting older.
Yeah. For so many reasons.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
I love how you put that. It's nice to see you made it this far.
Yeah.
We weren't sure.
Yeah, so I'm down. For those who don't know me, I'm from Noun Africa. We work in tandem with Nouns DAO Africa by Davin, and we do nounish things around Africa. So the past month, I'd say, we've had a project going on at Noun Africa whereby we've been making donations to children's schools with needy children who can't afford school books. And yeah, so basically what happened is that after one of those meetings, after one of those donations, we decided to sit down and find a self-sustaining way to keep on doing the good we are doing. And hence we decided to come up with a book DAO. A book DAO is basically a nounish book club whereby members of Nouns DAO or members of the crypto and Web3 community at large are welcome to come and discuss and to share in their love for literature. We're going to launch it on Build a DAO later on this week. The artwork is underway. We have our artist is called Sharkfin. He's working on the Nouns Builder artwork. And yeah, we're excited to launch it because like the majority of the collections that are going to go to the treasury after the auctions, majority of them are going to be used for donating books and for making charitable donations to learning institutions for children who cannot be able to the children who cannot be able to sustain themselves and maybe who cannot get better quality education. So basically, yeah, that's what we are up to, and we couldn't be more excited to share it with you. And yeah, I hope we'll see you there immediately we launch. We're gonna open up the Discord in the middle of this week, maybe Thursday. Things are still underway, and yeah, I think that's all I could say for now. So see you then.
Awesome.
Amazing. Love that. Always love Don working on some art stuff. It's always nice. And by the way, Don, I know we haven't chatted for a while, but really, really one of the cool things that we have been thinking about, doing as a DAO as soon as we move over maybe to a custom contracts or maybe through Build a DAO is to submit some traits to Nouns DAO, to submit some more traits so that we can have some more African traits as we play formal. I think that can make it fun. So
yeah, for sure. Like just right now, I was saying we should ping the Noundry to make sure the next round of trades we have a few African traits, maybe a giraffe in there, maybe you get something that Africa could identify with. I think yeah, that's a good idea.
I love that. As everyone knows, we're always here every Tuesday, 2 p.m. But this show is moving to 1 p.m. though. Need to put that out there. This is commemoratory. The 9 o'clock has visited. We had to stay here to wait. Had to sort of ping it until we can time it. So you never know. I may move this show again to another time whereby we can collide with the 9 o'clock. But you never know. But anyway, let's start with the question. And the first question right out of the gate that I want to maybe address is, what is it now?
You're getting rugged a little bit, Davin. It sounds like your mic is going away from your face.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. Yep, much better.
So what is a DAO? That's the first question. What is a DAO?
What is a DAO? A DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And it's a good question to ask because a lot of people who describe their groups as DAOs have differing ideas and opinions on how much decentralization, autonomy, and organization is required for it to for it to count as a DAO. But in a nutshell, it's decentralized autonomous organization, which basically means an organization that does not have any central power. So there's no, in a typical business, for instance, you've got, the owner, you've got the C-suite, CEO, CFO, whatever else, managers, etc. You've got a hierarchy of command. In a decentralized environment, there is no command hierarchy. It's there. I mean, some people will have more votes than others because they've, bought more votes than others in the case of nouns, but there's no actual centralized authority saying yes and no. Other than in the case of nouns, there's the veto to prevent, actively hostile things. But that's about it. There's no centralized authority saying, yeah, we're going to do this. And that's it in a nutshell. Again, varying degrees of autonomous, but generally autonomous means that it's run by a computer as opposed to, again, a centralized authority deciding, which votes to count, for instance. It's automated. And organization is self-explanatory. It's a group of people who have a goal in mind or several goals in mind.
Okay. Question number 2. What is an NFT-based DAO? Then if we can correlate what a DAO is and an NFT is, you can bring them together and then we see how does that work?
Absolutely. So to go from a very basic answer, NFT, non-fungible token, it is basically essentially a block of code that says somebody owns something, right? So in the case of a DAO, NFTs most frequently are used to determine membership. In the case of nouns, one noun NFT equals one vote. If you have one noun, you have one vote as to what happens with all of the money that's in the treasury. That is it in a nutshell. That is the link, is that NFTs are what allow DAOs to happen. Because with membership being entirely automated, and with it being irrefutable as to who has membership when, and with the inability to take that membership away for any centralized authority to say, yeah, okay, you don't have membership anymore, that means that that's what NFTs allow us to have. That's how NFTs allow a DAO to exist, is each NFT is a vote and says that the person who owns it is a member and has that vote. The more of these NFTs they have, the more votes they have. I can keep going, but I'm trying to keep the answers as simple as possible.
No, trust me. This is amazing. I'm just going through the questions. I'm just bouncing through. Question number 3 here. Is DAO business an investment business, and how do I get returns on investment? When do I sell or buy the NFTs so as to get the best margin?
If you're looking to me for it to invest in something, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's an investment. Buying into a DAO is especially something like Nouns DAO, is buying into a culture. It's buying into a community. It's saying, I believe in what this group of people is doing, and I want to support what they're doing, and I want to have an active role in supporting what they're doing or in steering what they're doing. So as for trading, I mean, you could theoretically say, like, you could buy into a DAO with the assumption that they are going, that membership in that DAO is going to be more desirable in the future, I guess. But it's not like a typical trading thing where it's like, oh yeah, this is going to happen and that's going to drive the price up or anything like that. It just, the people buying into Nouns DAO typically are buying in because they want to support the protocol, they want to support the builders. There are a few people who are trying to trade, and more power to them, go for it. I personally don't know much about that world, but as far as I'm concerned, the main purpose of buying into a DAO is to support the builders and how it functions. The secondary
Wait,
reason.
you guys are trading?
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I'm not alone. This is hilarious to me, by the way, because I was asked some of these questions in a slightly different way for the Nouns documentary. So I have practice.
Okay. I'm glad because it gets interesting. It gets interesting. This
Oh,
is number.
joy.
We're number what? We're
We're at number 3. We
four?
just did number 3. We're at number 4.
Number 4. Okay, number 4. This is about now. This is like the Noun Square, running a space. How do you launch a space, run the space, and onboard people onto a space? Like, you guys gave us a shot to run the show, Twende Nouns Africa. How do you keep it going without losing the enthusiasm?
Well,
21 questions.
We've done it for 7 months so far.
We've done it for a while. I would say Hota ya kwanza ni kuzungumza rundo la lugha. Sorry. But no, it's in our case, I think it's just a matter of coming at it from a genuine place and saying, yeah, this is what we're here to do. I mean, obviously we have a gimmick. We're built around 9 o'clock. We're saying that this is a central point for the internet. This is the wheel around which the Nouns ecosystem turns, and we're following that.
You can call it a gimmick, though, but I mean, the reality is that consistency is really important, and so I think that's been kind of the secret sauce for TNS, is that doing something every single day allows us to get better at it. Hopefully, over time, it allows people to know that there's always a daily touch point that they can come and ask questions. And it's sort of been the basis that we've been able to build out our community efforts, across the soapbox and lots of other different initiatives. So, I think that's what keeps us excited, is just how many people that we're able to help get into Nouns. Like, I was just going through some of the people that have come into Nouns as artists over the past 8 months by, winning a contest or 2 from TNS, and then going on to do POAPs for us, and then starting their own collections, collaborating on collections. So being at the front line of seeing all these people like discover Nouns and discover how they can contribute to Nouns is what makes it exciting for me, and I think the other team members as well.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and especially, I mean, there's proof of it in the nest right now. The artwork that I got my friend Suika to do, he's been my best friend since the middle school, and I got him onboarded into Nouns through 9 o'clock. Like I was literally, I've been trying to get him into Nouns, and I was like, hey, do you want to do art every day for a week? And get like paid for it? He was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I was like, okay, cool. You're going to do a POAP run. And now he's like interested in Nouns and wants to get more into it. So there's a whole bunch of different, like that's one example, but I've also managed to get my parents to tune into the show or listen to recordings, and they have a better understanding of Nouns from listening to people ask questions that they have.
No, that's probably a mistake.
Oh yeah, no question. It absolutely, like, I realized my mistake as soon as I did it, but still.
Boney could have told you that. Boney's made that mistake before.
Yeah, I hope I'm not rugged. Yeah, so continuing the questions, number 5 now. Yes, number 5.
Correct.
Now I'm regretting. Why did I write 21 questions as a title? But anyway, let's go. 21 questions. Number 5 is, what does an auction mean in the DAO business? And what is the benefit of running an auction? Maybe like instead of doing like a 10K PFP, something like that.
I have opinions on this, but I've been answering every question so far. Tony, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can do that. I think the auction, or the daily auction anyway, with Nouns is one of the most unique things about Nouns, and it sort of allows, they call it a governance slow start on nouns.wtf, but it basically means like you can onboard your community one at a time. So instead of having like this giant explosion of 10,000 people who are suddenly Nouners, you just have one a day forever, and you can reach out to them. You can sort of help them get ingrained into the culture. So I think that's one of the things that I liked the most when I found out about nouns is just that slower cadence, more thoughtful, you know, not all about the pump and dump. And I think that's something that an auction, a daily auction, brings to the table that most other kinds of NFT mints don't really allow for. Am I rugged?
No, I think everybody's just sort of processing that. I mean, I that's basically what I was going to say, was that it gives us a sort of slow burn on community. And I think it allows culture to form more organically. Because I mean, think about it. Think about how a group of friends, like in Meat Space. I don't know how many people here have experience having friends in real life, but if you
Wait, you guys think friends?
You guys are going outside, but think about how a group of friends starts. It usually starts with like 2 or 3 people who know each other from something, and then they meet somebody else who invites somebody else, and then over time you get, you know, a group of however many people that does a lot of things together. And I think the auction allows for sort of the same kind of deal to happen, where it allows people to establish, you know, what this group is about, and then more people can go, yeah, I want to be in that group. Whereas when you do a 10K PFP, you could absolutely have, you know, these are the stated goals for this group, right? At the start. But you're also going to get people who don't read.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. We need to move a bit faster on this. Key thing, we have a drop that is starting, I think, maybe I think an hour or two from now. It's the Crocs collection announcement. Really, I don't know, Clement. Before you Clement answer, Clement, is Clement on stage? I don't know if he's on stage.
Yes.
Clement, can you talk about this drop? Like, GM, man, talk to us about this drop.
Okay. It was very interesting actually to do a Crocs edition from Kenya actually, and we got like some art done on Crocs that are of different maybe designs, different art, and we visited a home. Then we prepared a children's home actually, where we did like a lot of activities throughout the day. We supplied them with food for 1.5 months. We danced, we even cooked for them like that day's supper and everything. And that's why like and we danced actually. And I think through the drop, and Davin's gonna like show you that drop, and yeah, that was the day. It was a very successful day. A Crocs edition that can be prolified actually over 6,000 maybe kids if it's possible through the Nounish community. And I'm so glad to do this actually in Kenya. This is actually our second activation actually, and it has been so nice. And onboarding now, that's the process that we are on. Yeah.
Guys, I'm just pinning these things. Sorry for some feedback. I'm just pinning the tweets for NounsDAO Africa for these announcements. But can we go on with the questions? Because I love these questions, man. These are really interesting.
Davin's like, oh, we're on question 7. What have I done? We do have a hard stop at 10 a.m. and 3.5 hours, Davin. So
yeah.
Right.
We've only got 3.5 hours left, so better hurry. No.
Okay, so what number? And please guide me. Now I'm jumping between apps here. How does this is number 6, isn't it? Number 6. Yeah. How does DAO to DAO business work? And how can a particular DAO easily do business with another DAO?
Depends on the DAO setup.
It would be good for Gami or Ben to be here for this question, because they have more experience with doing some DAO to DAO proposals through NARS.
I think it also depends on how the now is set up. I can speak English.
The new centralized autonomous organization.
But I think it depends on how the DAO is set up, because, like I said earlier, different DAOs have different opinions on how decentralized and autonomous they have to be. So when it comes to nouns, it usually falls on somebody submits a proposal in one of the, let's say that there's 2 Nounish extensions. So you've got NARS and you've got Nouns DAO, for instance. And because this has happened before, or Little Nouns and Nouns DAO, take your pick. One of the DAOs, somebody submits a proposal that says, I want this thing to this cooperation to happen between these two DAOs. And then so that has to go through their own DAO's governance. And then at that point, assuming that passes, then they go through the process, presumably outlined in their proposal, of proposing that collaboration to the other DAO within their own framework. So it has to go through one, and then it goes through in order to decide whether they want to propose something to the other DAO. And then the other DAO has to decide within their own framework if they're going to accept. That's the most typical way that this happens, is that goes up through the process in one, and then it goes to the other somehow.
The other answer is just with trust layers. DAOs have trust layers of people who run pods and whatnot, and those pods can interact with each other, and that's probably the easiest way that DAOs can work in tandem.
Yeah,
obviously everything eventually has to go on chain in one DAO or the other, but and it's cool to see it permissionlessly done. But it doesn't always have to be that way for every little thing.
Right. And also when it comes to things like nouns, where everything is CC0 and decentralized, you can absolutely, people come in here all the time and ask hey, how do I get, either on the space or in the Discord, and they're like, how do I get a partnership with Nouns? And it's we have good news and bad news. The good news is you don't have to. The bad news is you don't.
Or rather, the good news is everyone can, and the bad news is everyone can.
Right. It doesn't... There's no business negotiation process outside of just do it, right?
Although of course, the proposal process is basically that. So I mean, if you have
right, I mean, the proposal process includes campaigning and everything like that. So
yeah, so I mean, if you have a really unique idea, you could theoretically just put it right on chain, and if it's that awesome of an idea that every Nouner will read it and be like, yes, we should do that, then hey, you can do business with the DAO tomorrow, right?
Right. Technically, you don't even you would be doing business with the DAO if you just put it up on Discourse or any of the various Discourse killers.
And Davin, hit us. Let's go. We got 55 more questions still. Let's go.
Wait. When it comes to this question, the key thing that I actually usually point to when you think about what are they called? The words of Punk 4156. Do good with no expectation of return, and I don't know. That's what they get to at that point. Just a second. I don't know. I hope I don't get wrong. We're on question number what? Jeez.
7.
Don't worry.
Once I get to number 10,
for now, we'll start worrying when we get close to 21.
Yeah, we'll warn you when we're getting to 21. Once we hit 25.
Okay.
That's how numbers work. Right?
How? This is number 8. How do I easily gain a vote in the DAO, and what is important of having votes in the DAO?
Buy a token. Next.
Buy a noun. Yeah, that's it.
Buy a noun, or buy a Nouns DAO Africa, or buy whatever the
yeah, I was going to say the answer is buy a noun. Can't afford one? Buy some type of fractionalized control over a noun. Can't afford anything? Build something interesting and join Nounsel.
1 token, 1 vote.
Okay. Now this other question I know, and Twende, I really want you to talk about this. How can I take this CC0 brand of nouns? How can I launch a product or service, a business, in case the proposal doesn't pass?
So the question is, how can they launch a business and then make the proposal? Is that the question? And what if it doesn't pass?
Let's say, I think this question is phrased in if you look at most of the nounish ideas, look at Prop House, these are actually really viable, good ideas. So in case an idea doesn't pass, or a proposal doesn't pass, how can I leverage the brand, let's say nouns, and build out the product and services? And would the DAO need me to require to pay back some money for using the copyright or something?
Right. So what I would say is that there's two elements to doing business with the DAO, if you want to put it that way, or building a business around nouns. One is the IP, or the intellectual property. So that would be the art and the protocol and everything that Nouns is built on. Those are open source, so anyone can use them. You never have to pay any royalties back to Nouns DAO for using them. So that's the great side. You are entitled to that. The second piece is the funding piece. That the DAO fund businesses, and you aren't entitled to that. Nobody is. You have to basically convince the DAO that it's something that furthers the goals of the DAO in order to be funded. So I think it's helpful to separate those two pieces out. You're entitled to the IP, you're not entitled to the funding. Sometimes you can get both, but it is sort of on you to make the argument that the idea is worth funding and that it's something that will, that will be good for everybody in the DAO. But to answer the main crux of the question there is that if you are going to launch a business, you don't need to worry about traditional intellectual property questions where if you launch the business and the property is for using nouns, no, you can use all that stuff if you want. But if you're looking for funding for the DAO, then you do have to make the argument that whatever it is that you're planning to do is something that's going to help the DAO as a whole.
I want to shout out to Nicholas. These are some of his, these are actually, most of his questions are his questions that he submitted. And this one, I know, he ever since he saw Food Nouns, the first time he saw Food Nouns, he told me he wants to do like his whole restaurant to have, imagine like a whole restaurant themed as nouns. So it's a cool idea. Next question, Discord and communication channels in the DAO, like WhatsApp, Facebook groups. How can they, how special is Discord among all these others? And why is it used by many DAOs? And there are other ways we can do this without using Discord.
I mean, Discord's just a means to an end. I'm not sure why it's so popular in crypto. I to be honest, I'm not a big gamer myself, so I never used Discord much before I got more into crypto. But I'm not sure why. I
might be able to explain that.
Yeah, maybe go for it. I'm not sure even most of us that use it every day know why we use it. But go ahead.
Basically, Discord started in crypto because early crypto, like early degens, it's a Venn diagram of early degens and like gamer boys who were terminally online as a circle. And so that's sort of how Discord got into that sort of spot of being the like default communications platform. But also there's a whole bunch of reasons. One, it's free to set up a server unless you want to do a bunch of cool stuff with it, which means it's great for the type of people who come to this sort of industry, because all of us are, for our sins, rather entrepreneurial. And so it's great when we have a resource that just works out of the box, takes 30 seconds to set up, and we don't have to pay for it. We don't have to invest anything in it until we're already at a point where if we're investing something in Discord for it to work better, chances are it's because we have the money to do so. So that's one reason it's fantastic. Two, it's widely used. Like I said, it got in sort of at the ground floor of all of this happening. And because so many people are familiar with Discord, it's sort of just become the default. There are other communication possibilities. A lot of people use Telegram for some reason, and a lot of people use Twitter, but all of these are platforms that sort of just people use them because people have been using them. And that's the thing when it comes to any social network. Social networks are valuable, not because of the infrastructure that they provide necessarily, but because of the user base. Discord has a massive user base, and the barrier to somebody joining your Discord community is about 10 seconds of clicking a link and saying yes. So that's another big reason that a lot of people use it.
I think the main important thing, though, is that it's just a means to an end, and however your DAO wants to communicate, if that's like whatever, a text chain, if it's a Discord group chat or a Twitter group chat, whatever, so long as you guys can communicate, that's the important thing.
The only thing, that's kind of what I was getting at, is that the thing that makes Discord good for communication is that it's the thing that people want to use for communication. That's it. If enough people decide, hey, we want to switch all of our every nouns thing that we're doing from now on, every nouns announcement we make is going to be on Farcaster. That makes Farcaster more valuable. Well, a few people are doing that already. And of course, Farcaster doesn't solve the problem of, instant communication on a, IMing level, but it's still, that sort of thing. If enough people say this is what we're using, then that's what's going to be used. The only thing that Discord has is that a lot of people just use that as the default.
I want to say there are private Discords out there that you wish you'd never joined. Just don't dive too deep. Keep it simple. It's what works out here. Let me see. Number 9. What makes proposals?
We all have Discords we wish we didn't join.
Yeah, I have like 6 Discords I wish I didn't join, and the problem is I started half of them.
Okay, number 9. What makes proposals from members with voting power pass easily than those who are new to the business without having the voting power?
Without having the voting power. I don't know that voting power is the biggest single reason that a prop would pass over another prop. I mean, obviously it helps to have voting power, but most props that go up don't come up from folks that have a lot of voting power in the DAO. I mean, there's only a handful of people who have pretty big swaths of nouns, if you want to call them that. What's the adjective for a group of nouns? Do we know?
A block?
A block. Or
but Tony, you were the 4th largest block of votes for like 6 months, and you don't know the answer to this question.
I think it's whatever we want it to be. Yeah.
The call is coming from inside the house, and you.
Well, I gave up those delegates for a reason, didn't I? But
that's
no,
fair.
I would say that it's more about relationships for sure, because governances work, and so to get people to come out and support and vote for your proposal, you definitely need to sell the value of why that proposal should pass. So that means writing a really good proposal. It means having people who are going to champion it and vote for it. And because there are so many votes in the DAO, you do need sort of a broad consensus of people who will support what you're going to do. So I think it's more about your relationships within the DAO, and also your track record, like what you've built. So if you're coming out of the blue and putting a proposal up and it's not passing, it's not because you're not a member of the club or because you don't have enough votes. It's probably because you haven't proven that you can do the thing you said you would do. So I would usually recommend starting small, doing what's called an MVP, a minimum viable product, showing that you can do what you say you're good at doing. And then once you have that sort of track record built, then you're going to have a much easier time passing a larger proposal, because nouners will come and they'll take a look at that and be like, oh, I know that guy, he did this, or I know that girl, she did this, and then they'll be more likely to support you on the bigger stuff.
Not bad. Clement, let me now switch to you. I know you have your list prepared, so fire away. We're on question number 10 now. I'm counting.
I feel like we should do like a rapid fire at some point. Like you just hit us with like 5 in a row. You want to do it now? So 5 Clement, rapid fire, 5 questions in 5 minutes. Let's go.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's the color of the sky?
Blue.
At the moment, sort of an orangish pink.
Oh yeah, this is probably sunrise.
I'm 2 feet away from a window.
All right, let's go. Keep going. 2. That's 2. Let's go 3. Let's go. We have 2. Do we have 3?
Dish.
Sorry?
Your best dish.
Best dish? Spaghetti.
Swordfish steak.
What?
I'm changing mine to regular steak, not weird swordfish steak. Just steak.
I just made myself swordfish steak last night, so it's on my mind.
All right, rapid fire. Let's go, Davin. Come on. 2 more. Let's go.
I'm giving another. Oh, geez, man. This is tough. Clement has a question. Let's first start with Clement.
How are we putting pressure on the interviewer here? We've turned. Oh, how the turntables.
Yeah. Here, fine. We can put pressure on the interviewer. Nilina tu taona nomina za Kiswahili.
Interesting. You can speak in Swahili. I'm muting. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, you do Kiswahili, right?
Yes.
I'm not
All right,
fluent.
give us the next question and make it not in Swahili, or I will not be able to answer.
Please don't make me go ragged. Anyway, my question was, what's the role of an IRL of nouns in a specific area?
So an IRL, or in real life activation, is just any kind of proposal that basically tries to advertise nouns in a specific community. So I guess it's just anytime that you're trying to spread awareness of something, and nouns is no exception. There's different ways that you can do that. Obviously, you can leverage online methods, like we do here at TNS. There's lots of different ways that you can try to get the word out about nouns, and get people noun pilled and make them interested to come and build within nouns, or to buy a noun. IRL activations are just a different way of doing that, by actually connecting with people face to face, talking to them about the DAO and about what's going on here. And I think it's probably like a quality over quantity situation. So like with online types of proliferation efforts like TNS, or like Prop House and other infrastructure, you might be able to reach a lot of people across a broad swath of the world, whereas IRL is like more really targeted. You might only reach like fewer people, but hopefully you make really meaningful connections with those people, and maybe have a higher percentage of converting people over to to come work in the DAO. I feel like I'm saying converting from a marketing sense, but I realize it's sounding like it's from a cult sense. But anyway, it works.
Nouns is not a cult. Disclaimer: Nouns is not a cult.
Does that answer your question, Clement?
Yeah, it does actually. I just saw another list of questions that I had from actually one of the members of our DAO. What's a noun's close?
Nouns close?
Yes, close. Yeah.
Can you spell it?
I mean,
Like
there's
close?
lots of different options for nouns clothes.
We can. No. Close. Like you can see, maybe you have what can I say? A law written, and it has like a clause, like the one in the contract. That's what I'm asking. Do we have clauses for nouns? Yeah.
I mean, I know what word you mean now, but I'm still not sure what the questioner means by the question. I need more context personally to answer that. But what clauses would be in the contract for nouns?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's majorly what the audience intended to ask.
You stumped me. I don't know what they're asking with that one, to be honest.
Yeah, we might have to come back to that one.
Maybe we can ask them for clarification and answer tomorrow.
Yeah, answer in Discord or something, or on stage tomorrow.
By the way, this is really cool. I hope all sub-DAOs do this. It would be pretty cool to have a series like this from every sub-DAO. Maybe not with 21 questions. Maybe we'll start with 12 questions. But I think it's cool.
Can you hear me? I think I got dragged a little bit. I think in this question, I would phrase it as I'd phrase it as like the legal aspect of it. Like if you're doing an IRL activation, what's the legal impact of representing Nouns DAO? I guess I don't know what. Maybe I wish Brock was here to answer this. Like some legal aspect of it.
It depends on where you are. It depends entirely on where you are. All nouns can do is send funding to an individual. At that point, all of the.
I think we need more context on this question.
We probably need more context. Yeah.
Let's go to the next.
Because as it is, the answer changes based on where the individual is for an on the ground activation.
Okay, but if it is what I think, Clement, you're asking me, I usually say, and I've experienced this doing some DAO work, is that locally you know how to deal with the politics locally. So any legal implications that you may face when you're doing a proliferation, you know that the DAO is not legally binded to support anything. So and that's why I usually say is that keep it simple and let's do good. I mean, if we only focus on the good, I don't think we could be doing some bad and get some legal things involved. I don't know, but you never know. All I say is that as long as, and that's the whole ethos of Noun DAO Africa is like, as long as we have 54 people IRL who know, like on OTG, like if you want to build a school in this country, you have to understand this is how X works. And Robert Fishka knows this. It's from the movie. What is it called? Black
I'll do
CIA. CIA, right? This is Africa. So South Africa is totally different from Uganda. What I mean, Kenya, guys, stuff. But this is what we have to do. If that's how the question was phrased, I'm just answering it and paraphrasing it a bit. But anyway, next question.
Okay, like from a point of view, yeah, it has answers actually two of the sides that I hoped for. And now the next question is, could someone maybe have a DAO that is in their own language, like everything explained in nouns, but in their own language, like Swahili or whatsoever language?
Of course, those exist already.
Yeah.
There's a DAO for Nouns China. There's a DAO for Nouns Japan. DAO for Nouns Brazil, and although they sometimes do, some stuff in English, especially when they're dealing with those of us in the main DAO, they also do their stuff in their own language, as they should.
Someone please make a Swahili DAO. I'll join it.
I got a shout out to Jonathan, one of our early designers. When he saw the nouns.wtf the first time, he was like, "Oh, it's translated in Japanese. Why doesn't it have Kiswahili?" So he submitted a prop to do. I think that was the first time he submitted a prop, and it did not go through over on Prop House, and he was really sad. He was, "Oh my God, I cannot believe it. They didn't vote me." He's like, "It's a bad idea." No, it's not a bad idea. If you translated it into Swahili, it would be much easier to onboard people in Kenya, much easier to onboard people in Uganda. So I think those are the kind of ideas like you form a DAO for, and then you do a DAO to DAO proposal, and then it comes through.
Or you just have to have tenacity. You know, the thing with Prop House is that attention is very scarce, and nobody votes against your proposal as a personal vendetta against you, or at least I hope that doesn't happen. But people just, they whatever catches their eye, whatever title catches their eye is what they may vote for, and some rounds are more competitive than others. But like, there's an open round right now that just launched last night for Prop House, and that's the perfect type of thing that someone could put in for that Prop House round. So I would sort of tell your friend to keep an eye on Prop House and keep trying, because if it's a good idea, it will pass.
How many times did I know we tell this story every other day, but how many times did Abtoshi submit to Prop House for Nouns on the Ground? Like 4?
Yeah,
something like
4.
that.
Yeah.
So worth resubmitting, I think, because I do think that's a brilliant idea.
Okay,
I remember that prop.
Mm-hmm. So I think the last question like I might have is, after you have done maybe an activation of nouns or proliferation, what do you guys look for like in the nouns community to say like that prop was successful? What do you look for? Like,
I think it depends on the proposal, and usually those types of things are outlined in the proposal itself.
okay.
But when you're talking about an on the ground activation, it is difficult. So the things that you might be able, like, it depends on the proposal again. So when it's something like the Rose Parade, for instance,
okay.
we determined that as a success by seeing it happen, because we knew that because we were watching it on national TV, there were thousands of others also watching it and seeing the same things. And even if they didn't understand the significance in the same way that we did, they were still seeing it and they were getting the message, and it was being conveyed in a way that everyone agreed with. When it comes to other on the ground activations, it could be things like, I got questions from this many people, and you notate that, unprompted. Or it could be, I gave away this many things to this many people, so they now have something from Nouns. Or I was on stage at a convention and the audience, as I was talking, had an attendance of blank. So I think that's it's difficult to measure, especially with on the ground, unless you're like actively tracking. A great way to do that is through things like POAPs, where you're giving away proof of attendance, but also it's a way to say, okay, so I gave away POAPs to 120 people. So I have verifiable proof that 120 people talked to me about this thing long enough that I gave them this free NFT. But it's like I said, it's it depends on the prop. And different props will ask for different things, and different props will aim for different things. It all depends on how you define success, and
Yeah, it's up to
like as you're set up
to set those metrics, and also for the DAO that's passing the proposal to to agree on them, I guess.
Yeah. Because if the proposal sets the metrics, right? If the proposal says, for success, we are going to reach, 1,000 followers by the end of month 3, and then the DAO votes yes on that proposal, then the DAO is saying, okay, then we agree that success for this means that you will get 1,000 followers on whatever account by month 3, for instance.
All right, what question are we on now, Devin?
We are on question number I think 17.
Okay, all right, we're doing pretty good. 17, all right, that's not so bad.
I like how you said it in some language nobody's heard of and then translated it for us. That was
17.
That was really nice.
I think this question, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if this is what Philomena wanted to ask. I've been trying to invite Philomena to come on stage to ask this question, but she posted it in the group. I'm just paraphrasing. I think this is what the question says: what is the noun cryptocurrency? But I guess okay. That's it.
Ethereum.
It's built in ETH.
Yeah.
What is the proliferation
token? Maybe she was asking if there was. So just to go back to the previous question, Nouns doesn't have a token or anything like that. Some NFT projects have a token at the center of their ecosystem, but Nouns is ETH native, so Ethereum is the only token that's used here alongside USDC. Sometimes we allow builders to request USDC payment if they're doing something that requires a stable coin and escaping that volatility that might be there with ETH. So. That answers that question. And then the second one was, what is proliferation? Is that what I heard, Devin?
Yes. What is the proliferation process? I mean, Flamina has finally made it on stage, so Flamina, you can as well ask.
Flamina, proliferation is just a word that we like to use within nouns that basically means spread awareness. So it just means getting the word out about nouns, and it kind of invokes to like the virtuous cycle, meaning like as people hear about nouns, they build in nouns, they tell more people about nouns, and then more attention comes back to Nouns DAO, and then the cycle repeats. That's kind of like implied by the word proliferation, is that it's kind of like this, snowball effect going out in all directions. So, I mean, proliferation starts by basically doing any kind of project that raises awareness of nouns and, starts the cycle over again.
I mean, you have any other questions that maybe thought about?
I just seen a question actually in the group, and they're asking about governance and structure in Nouns DAO. Like, what's like the process, or do you set your own governance, maybe rules and everything?
What are the rules of governance? Is that what they asked?
No. Like they asked about governance and structure of Nouns DAO, or even forming a sub DAO of Nouns. What's like the process and what does it entail?
Well, if they're talking about like the legal structure and everything, it's a topic that we would need an entire show to cover, and even then
we would need a show and a lawyer.
Yeah. So I mean, there are, in the case of Nouns DAO with the pretty sizable treasury, they've spent a good amount of money on lawyers to make sure that they're properly structured as a Cayman Islands entity and all the rest. For most DAOs, obviously that's overkill, but you still should give some thought to how you structure yourselves, and speaking to a lawyer is a good idea, as Prof. Warder would I'm sure agree. And as far as the actual governance structure, Nouns is kind of very efficient where that's concerned, because it's basically one noun, one vote. So there's no weighting of votes. There's no complicated formulas. It's just, if you own a noun, you have a vote. If you delegate it to someone, then they have a vote.
Love that. I wanted to ask, I have also my personal question. I'll check in here. How did the noun?
You got a little rug there, Devin. How did they what?
The Noun Square. At your late.
You're super rug.
We heard. How did the Noun Square?
How did the Noun Square start? I'm sorry, guys. This is
It's good.
This is the best that Africa can offer at the moment, but with more
Noun
funds,
Square-
and if you buy our token.
Buy our token. Get Davin better internet.
God, please.
Last June, 4156 is one of the founders of Nouns. Basically just started doing an art contest at Noun O'Clock, where he would just ask people to sketch the daily noun on a napkin or build it out of Lego, I think was one of them, and started doing this a couple of days in a row. And then I spoke to 142, Noun 142, in DMs. We were like, hey, we should do a Twitter Spaces around 9 o'clock and like the contest and everything. So 4156, and we're like, hey, should we do this? And he was like, yeah, go for it. You can do it if you want to. So we started doing that like on the day 3 of his contest, and then we just kept doing it, and people kept showing up, and we were playing FOMO live, and it was fun. So we did that for like a week, and then we put up a proposal for a trial run. And we did that for, I think it was a month. We did a trial run.
Yeah,
and
1 month.
sort of built a team out and kept doing this every single day, and sort of incorporating more contests every day and every week. And then from there, it was still growing. So we did a proposal for a 3-month engagement, and then a 5-month engagement. So we kind of built our way up to where we're at now. And of course, now we've got a proposal on chain that goes live later today for a further 6-month extension of what we're doing here, what we're trying to build. So that's the story of TNS in less than 2 minutes.
Thank you for doing the audio for the TikTok. I'll have it up later today.
The next question is, if you let's say like the experience you have had in Nouns, if you had to build out Nouns DAO Africa to be a successful DAO, what any pickers you'd give, like how we build out this community to be maybe one of the most powerful communities in the Nouniverse?
Well, I think that any community that has regional ties and cultural ties has a strong advantage over any other community out of the gate, because as humans we have very strong attachments to our culture and our geography. So I think if you can leverage that and just build a community on top of that, but also like in a nounish way, that you're gonna be just fine. So just keep doing interesting things. Like I like how Nouns DAO Africa has its roots in like the cleanup contests that you originally did, Davin, and I think that's a good sort of place to lean into, because public good is always going to be a good way to onboard people. It's pretty hard to argue against public good, so you're not going to give much ammo to the people who are like, oh, I don't want to join a crypto thing or whatever. That's just evil, or it's killing the environment, or whatever. Whatever talking point they might come back at you with, it's pretty hard for them to argue if you're literally going out with your friends on the weekend, cleaning up communities and whatnot,
Yeah.
Love that. And speaking of Nounish goods, we have an open edition that is getting open. I've tried to delay the space so that it can open in the window, but I said it's going to be open for a week, starting to, I think, 1 hour from now. It's going to be open for a week. And essentially, that advert, I think it's a UN advert, which says for $1 a day, you can feel. Just kidding. But it's essentially $1.08. It's the lowest I could go. I was like 0.0011 because our treasury thing is 0.011. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's do that. What this is going to do, at first it was supposed to be like, hey, let's split it 50-50 with the DAO and then to the Kenyan team. And then I talked to Clement. I was like, hey, let's do 100% to the NounsDAO treasury, and then the team from Kenya can use their tokens to be able to request this money from the treasury, and we go through a whole proposal process. And I was like, that's cool. So all that's going to be minted from this amazing video, you can see it's for us everywhere. I think it has now been set. Every proliferation that we are going to do from now on, we have to dance as we are entering. This has been set by Clement and the crew. So whether we are in Zambia, whether we are in Rwanda, we are going to dance. I think our preparation is dance. So major thank you to Clement and Flomina and the whole team, actually, all the partners who showed up with that and stood with us, and just show you, like, 1/8 it's not like it's a big thing, but when people come together and make it seem very, very important, it now becomes an impact driven thing. It's like, if we can do a cleanup for 2/8, how about we do a whole cleanup of Africa? But just to point this out, with the nouns proposal, you guys have been thinking about this, and I want to throw it out there, and the Nouns DAO Africa praise. And the Noun Square, this art piece has this building in the middle, and we have an office. I was looking at it, I was like, can't this be built somehow? Tori, is this like, is there like a plan we can build something like this? Because
You're
I'm
talking
pretty
about
sure.
Meshup's art piece?
Yeah, like the whole thing, the whole square. And I'm like, oh, this can be built because it's really cheap to build shit like this in Africa. I'm telling you.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I want to see it.
That's just one out there in the wind. So Clement, we're on question 20 now. So one more question.
I have a question.
Go on.
All right, go for it, Martha.
Hi, everybody. So
Hi.
my question is, so we're trying to build our strategic direction as a DAO. Because Robert talked about a community and culture. People come together because they believe in something and they want to do something together. And looking at what a DAO is all about, it's decentralized. How can we build something without it becoming centralized in a way?
I can answer that. So you've seen Nouns DAO and how it's got the mission statement of public goods and proliferation. And you've probably seen some of the sub-DAOs, like we've got Food Nouns, we've got NARS, there's Shark DAO, there's all of these different sub-communities. But for instance, NARS and Food Nouns have clear mission statements, right? I'll use Food Nouns as an example. Food Nouns has a clear mission statement of being about access, food access and health and everything like that. So, and it's reflected in the art, and it's reflected in the kind of people who would be willing to buy into that community. When you establish from the beginning, this is a community that we plan to have focused on this thing.
Yeah.
When people buy into that community, they're in essence signing a social contract saying, okay, I'm interested in this topic that the founders of this community have said is the goal of this community. And so it sort of self-regulates. And of course, there is always the risk, right? There's always the risk that there are going to be people who are uninterested in what's going on, or like what the mission statement of your community is, and they're just going to buy up all the tokens. That is a risk, obviously. But that's also why things like a veto is in place while you're still building a community, because then you can sort of steer the direction very early on until the community is built and you've said, okay, now we have this group of people and we have we've established a community that is all pulling in roughly the same direction. Everybody has roughly the same goal. Maybe they have differing ideas of how they're going to get there, but they all have the same idea in place of where they want to get to. And that's the point at which you kind of take your hand off the tiller and go, okay, now it's fully decentralized. So at the very beginning, you kind of do want to start it semi-centralized, where you sort of are saying, this is the goal that we have in mind, until you get to the point where there are enough people in the community that the only people joining are going to be the ones who agree.
I don't know if I agree with that 100%. I think the DAOs are like organic and
yeah,
they grow over time. And I think you're right that like if you start a DAO, you can sort of focus it in a certain direction. But at the same time, part of the beauty of a DAO is how it can kind of learn and grow. And if it grows into something that you didn't expect, you can always leave too. You can always fork it and start
Oh,
over again.
yeah.
But I do think that that's one of the beautiful things about DAOs is that they are kind of living organic things, and you have to give them space to kind of grow and find their way as well. But I mean, the veto is there, but it should be used very sparingly, because at a certain point in time, if the veto is used often enough, then congratulations, you've made a company.
Sorry, I should have been clear about that. When I said pointed in the right direction, I meant very vaguely, like,
Right.
Sort of say,
No,
this is the
most of what
direction
you
that we
said,
hope
I
we
agree
go
with.
in.
I just wanted to point out that I think sometimes,
Yeah.
it's
Definitely easy to get carried away.
Does that answer your question, Martha, a little bit?
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear.
And I do think
you
what
have any
Robot said about having a common theme or an aim to sort of rally around is pretty important.
Great. Okay, this is not a question though. Would you probably share your experiences on some of the onboarding processes? I had a very interesting experience today in the morning. I was talking to someone about nouns and decentralized autonomous organizations and how they work. And for about 30 minutes, we went back and forth talking about this thing. And as a community, realized that one of the biggest challenges that we're going to face is actually maybe talking more about this and what it's all about. So maybe you can share your experiences.
With regard to like onboarding?
Yes.
Tony, I can take this and then.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So yeah, I do most of my onboarding digitally because I don't go outside. But even when I'm talking to people IRL, the first things that I tend to show them are interesting things the DAO has done. Typically, things that I think are good examples of the core tenements of proliferation in public goods. So nowadays, the Rose Parade is at the top of that list. The content coming out of Nouns on the Ground, Davin's cleanup contest I have it bookmarked on my Twitter, the video, literally, because I bring it up to show to people so often, like, yeah, this is a thing that happened because of this ecosystem, like, and the cleanup video that we put together on TNS. And so I start with things like that, saying like, okay, this is what nouns can do. And then if people are interested, then I might get into some of the specifics of how that happens. And I usually start by saying, by oversimplifying to the point where it's almost inaccurate. So I usually start by going like, nouns is a big pile of money that people give money to, and that gives them a vote. And then they vote on what to do with that money. And generally they try to do cool stuff like this, and I show them more things. And if they're getting really interested, then I get deeper into, the boring nitty gritty technical stuff of, this is a token, this is what it does. Because I find that when you start with, oh, well, nouns is about the digital, this digital token, and it's all this blockchain tech. And when you start with that, then people tend to, if they don't immediately hate it because it's blockchain, which is fairly common in my experience, then they will at least be like, oh, this sounds complicated. I don't get this. This like their brain kind of shuts down because it's this information overload. Whereas if you just go like, yeah, so nouns is a thing that lets 40 people go out and pick up trash. You can't argue with that. Yet Nouns is this organization that thought it would be cool to get a float in the Rose Parade, so they got one. Like that, you don't have to go into more detail than that until you
not only that too, but I'm sure Aptoshi could speak to this as well. But a couple of Nounders who were there sort of expressed the thought that it was incredible to be there and see it happening, and know that they had nothing to do with it. They didn't have the idea. They didn't have the execution. They didn't make the noggles. They didn't do anything. They just showed up, and there was a parade in their honor, and that's kind of a cool thing.
Definitely, I can speak to that for sure. That is true and very
GM
purposeful.
Toshi.
GM guys,
GM Toshi, how are you?
hello, robot birthday girl. Hi. I was so excited to see that TNS was still in the space and that it was Twende Nouns in Africa. Hi, Davin. But yes, the Nounders not participating was almost even very purposeful. And you could almost see like someone could come up to them and be like, "What is a noun?" And they'd be like, they would wait for someone to almost come in to see how it would go down, like as true observers, because of the fact that the specialness of a DAO is that it can just operate. It is somehow working because like-minded people find each other within these systems and get things done. And so as much as Nouns in general funds ideas, it's really like all of these like little mini sub communities and pockets that are really defining what those ideas are, I think.
Absolutely. Thanks for your questions, Martha. I appreciate it very much. We have someone else who's come up, Don Love. Do you have a question, Don?
I just wanted to say that a couple years ago, the kind of quick explanation of a DAO boiled down to almost an accuracy to explain it to somebody that I really enjoyed was somebody just saying, "Oh, it's just like a Facebook group with a wallet."
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Sure.
Yeah, and
or a
I
WhatsApp
found that's
group or a Discord group, but yeah, it's exactly
yeah,
it.
like easy way to just get that out of the way, and then focus on what does the style actually want to do. And then also there was a question about how can a DAO have a location, and I mean when we speak about decentralized, it's what are we decentralizing? With DAOs, typically one of the main things is membership. That doesn't mean you can't have these subgroups coalesce at certain locations, and that if it helps them execute, they might end up having a location. That doesn't make it not decentralized. I mean, cryptocurrency is decentralizing different parts as we go along, decentralizing power, decentralizing voting, DAOs decentralizing membership.
That's a good point. You don't have to decentralize all the things all at once.
Yeah. Really cool space, by the way. Really cool group. Dig you guys. Gonna check this out more.
Thanks, Don. Yeah, give us a follow here on the clock. We have a space every single day where we talk about nouns, CC0, DAOs, and all that fun stuff. So
sweet.
I wanted to jump in and say we have one more question to go. But
one more question. We made it. 21 questions. We did it.
Wait,
at the end of this 21 questions, are we supposed to guess something? Like, was this all a game where we're supposed to guess something at the end? Because I have no idea what the clue is, if that's the case.
We usually, in this space, we usually have a Nouns Africa token to give away. And that's usually picker. So I think instead of putting picker, I'm going to ask another person.
I feel like everyone's rugged but me right now. I'm not sure. I can't hear Robot or Davin. But
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better now. Okay. Go ahead.
Perfect. So we're giving away one NounsDAO Africa NFT, and we usually put that on the retweet.
All right, so we'll do a bonus retweet picker today.
We can do that.
NFT.
Right, sounds good.
I think that's a fair deal. I don't know, but I wanted to. Should I do maybe? We also have our POAP. We have our POAP that we give away for this show. I don't know how we can be able to do this, Todia.
Double POAPs. All right. Well, what we'll do first, you're going to hit us with that 21st question. I just know it's going to be a good one, and then we're going to do a double POAP. We'll do your POAP and Robot's POAP, and then we'll do a double retweet picker. And then we'll go have a double nap. How does that sound?
Double, and that's the noun is
nice. All right, hit us with that 21.
What?
Give us that 21 Savage.
Is normal. What is normal?
What is normal? Oh, what a guy!
Oh boy!
Hits us with the softball question on number 21. I love it. Nomo is a game that we developed in-house here at TNS. Shout out Volky.eth, best dev in the biz. At the time, we were getting rugged on FOMO, very similar to how we got rugged tonight. Although I don't know if it was by a bot or not tonight, or if you guys just really liked the egg. But anyway, there was a time where we were getting rugged every single night. It wasn't working properly. It was really annoying. Also, we heard that 9999 was working on a bounty. We didn't really know what that was going to be about. He had won a prop house for it, and we started thinking, what if bounties become the norm? What if people start putting out bounties on all their favorite heads, so people start manually settling? And basically, we had an existential crisis, and we said we need to make a game that is always fun to play on 9 o'clock, no matter what happens with FOMO. And that's where the idea for Nomo came from. And I know there's been a lot of talk over the years, over literally the 2 years almost of nouns, about people talking about saving the nouns that didn't get FOMO'd. And so that was an idea we had in the back of our head. And so we came up with the concept for Nomo, about, saving the nouns that would be Nomo. And that's how now Nomo was born. I believe Ben Body had the idea of making it a timed edition, which has been a kind of a cool feature, where the closer you get it to 9 o'clock, the cheaper it is. And that's of course, remember, this is just in beta as well, so we've got lots of things coming down the line for Nomo. But as with everything that needs to be coded, it does take some time. But Volky is working on some changes for V2, and one of those changes I can probably leak a little alpha here. One of the things we want to do with Nomo for sure is combine FOMO into the same window. So I'll leave you with that, but that's something that is definitely coming in V2. Is you will not have to chase us around at the start of the show to all these different sites. We want you to be able to go to one site and be able to, see the end of the auction, play the FOMO, play the Nomo. And so that's the first big improvement that's coming along, as well as a couple of gameplay changes. And hey, the good thing about Nomo being in-house is if you think that something should be changed or added to Nomo, you can just tell us, ask us, request it, and it can probably be done.
I love that. I think I can now. I'm ready for this POAP.
You ready for it? All right. All right, let's go. So this is a Nouns DAO Africa POAP, correct?
Yes, this is a Nouns DAO. It's a Twende Nouns in Africa POAP. This is POAP number 3. We have had, of course, some technical difficulties with the first 2, but you keep it going. You gotta keep the show going.
That's right.
So POAP, proof of attendance protocol, to show that you are here on this day listening when the 9 o'clock visited Africa. Hopefully we don't move the time again, but we are moving our show 1 hour back to 5 a.m. EST, and we shall be here. For us, it will be 1 p.m. lunch hour. We're moving it to that lunch hour. So you may come on our space and you hear people praying. You may come on our space, you hear people getting into business. So anything can happen on Twende Nouns in Africa. Just know that lunch hour in Africa is a very, very special time. That's why we are moving our show there. Major thank you to Zags for helping us move there. Now,
Awesome.
To collect this POAP, what you need to do is go to your POAP app and click the mint button and put in the secret word. The secret word for this POAP today, Twende Nouns in Africa number 3, is, I don't have the soundboard ready. Let's go Africa. Let's go Africa.
Which, by the way, is the translation of Twende Africa, right?
Exactly.
Let's go Africa. All right. That's your first POAP. It's a double POAP all the way across the sky today. Let's go Africa is the first one. And then Robot Fish Girls. Yeah, can someone else confirm that Davin's POAP is working? Anyone?
And if you don't worry, I have enough links to give them up.
I'm doing the thing, but yeah, it's working for me.
All right.
If you're playing the game, it's working.
I am playing the game, but I also have a POAP for us, but I'm going to give people time to complete the game before I announce it. So if we want to do a Twitter picker and then I'll do our POAP.
Yeah, we'll do a double Twitter picker, I guess. So the first Twitter picker will win 0.069 ETH, and the second one will win a Twende Nouns Africa sorry, a Nouns DAO Africa token, right?
Yes.
Sounds
yes,
like a plan to me.
exactly.
Awesome. All right, I can give myself a drum roll here since y'all are playing the POAP game. Winner of the retweet picker winner for 0.069 ETH is Elena Dig with the 9 o'clock noggles. Actually, it's kind of a variation on the 9 o'clock noggles that she's got in her bio. So his or her bio. Awesome. Congratulations. Sent you a DM. You won 0.069 ETH. Thank you for being here so often and for helping us get the word out about the space. And for the person who has won the Nouns DAO Africa token, at Moon420 for the culture. I see this person retweeting us all the time, always around the ecosystem. So congratulations, Moon420. You have won the token for Nouns DAO Africa. So that's always fun. Thank you, Davin, for putting that up as a bonus prize today.
To get the token, what you do, let me see, I think the account has jumped off, must have gone off. But all you need to do is just DM your wallet address to NounsDAO Africa at NounsDAO Africa, and yeah, we'll be sending you that token ASAP.
All right, sounds good. Robot Birthday Girl, are you ready with the second POAP of the day?
Yes, I am.
All right.
All right. So again, as Davin said, POAP, proof of attendance protocol to prove that you were here. And I'm just finishing up readjusting the time, and then we will we'll hand that out to you. So if you open up your POAP app one more time, make sure that everybody has done with the game for the first one, because guess what? You're gonna have to play it again. And so you're just gonna go to the mint button in the bottom right one more time, then tap the secret word button. And today's secret word is when giraffe noun 28. That is WHENGIRAFFENOUN 28. When giraffe noun 28.
I feel like a giraffe noun would have a very long neck. I'm not sure how that would work. Would the body?
I would love if the giraffe noun head was just
I feel like they
the
tried
neck
to do a
going
giraffe.
off.
Back in the Noundry competition days, I think some people did try to do giraffe heads, and I can't remember how they did. I think Krell did one that had like a looping neck, basically a looping neck with a head, if I'm not mistaken. But
That
yeah,
sounds like an eldritch horror.
Sure.
Just saying.
All right.
Here's the giraffe. Its neck is tied in a knot, but it's a giraffe, I promise.
Exactly. You want to give that POAP one more time? And then
yeah, it is. It is when giraffe noun 28. That is WHENGIRAFFENOUN28. I am really proud of myself because I just spelled that out while playing the POAP game.
Now do it backwards.
That is 8-2-NUONEFFARIGNEHW. God, I hope that was right.
I tried doing it that way and it didn't work, Robot Fish Girl.
Yeah, gee, I wonder why.
All right. Let's wrap this up. We've been going for an hour and a half. It's been a great show. Want to thank Nouns DAO Africa for putting this together with the 21 questions. It was a super fun idea for a format. We should replicate it with other communities at some point. Maybe not quite 21 questions, but I think it was a good idea. Maybe we could cut it down to top 10, but it was really cool to be able to hear the community's questions.
Sorry, I'm sorry to cut you. I was thinking about that Drake meme, that Drake song, 21. Can you do something for me?
Yeah. Well, you did something for us, so thank you. Coming
Yeah,
up
that's
on
fantastic.
TNS. Coming up on TNS today, we've got the Nouns DAO, the Nouns AI weekly call in our Discord in about 2.5 hours. So make sure you join our Discord by hitting the clock here and then hitting the link for the Discord. That is a Discord first event, meaning you can really get the best experience by joining it in the Discord. They'll actually have a slideshow with lots of stuff that they're working on. If you can't join in the Discord, it will be simulcast to Twitter, but that's a listen only situation where you can't participate and you can't see the presentation. So whichever you can do, come join us, but it's always best in the Discord. At 12:30, of course, we've got Shark DAO, a soapbox at the Noun Square about everything going on in the shark world. Then followed by 2 p.m. Nouns DAO weekly public call with Agora. We will be talking about none other than the TNS proposal as well as Super Tight Woody's Noun Sounds proposal on today's Nouns DAO weekly public call. So if you're a Nouner or a delegate or a community member and you have questions about props 225 and 226, Noun Sounds went live, I think, yesterday, and TNS goes live this afternoon. So that's the point of discussion for the Agora call this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. EST, not here on TNS, but over on Nouns Prop House. I, Tony Hawk, will be hosting Prop House Weekly. Interesting topic this week. We'll be talking about using Prop House for token emission, which is kind of cool. So there's about 4 projects that are currently using Prop House rounds as a way of figuring out who owns the next round of tokens in their DAO or project. And we'll be talking a little bit about that concept. So if it's something that's interesting to you, if your project or DAO is thinking about novel ways to build membership and emit tokens, this could be something interesting for you to tune into at 3:30 p.m. EST. At 8 p.m. tonight, we've got Lil Toads Tuesday, the second space only of this. It's a brand new soapbox from last week with Super Tight Woody and the Little Toads DAO gang. Always, I think, going to be a good time on Tuesday nights. So 8 p.m. tonight, Little Toads Tuesday. Be there at the square. And then finally, 9:30 daily drop with That's Gnarly. Always a good time with Davin and the other folks from NARS as they go over the daily drop on That's Gnarly and talk about all things NounsDAO. And then, of course, we'll be back here tomorrow with none other than Super Tight Woody at 5:55 a.m. again, because nobody wants to let us extend FOMO into the normal hours of the morning here in EST. So, again, we will meet here at 5 minutes to 6. I'm not bitter at all. And talk with Super Tight Woody. If anything, Super Tight Woody is going to be the bitter one. He's not a morning guy, that guy. So he's not going to be happy that we haven't moved 9 o'clock at all for him. 5:55 a.m. tomorrow. We'll be back here for 9 o'clock live at the Noun Square. Thank you guys very much. Our proposal does go live later today. So if you are a fan of TNS and you see chatter on the Twitters about our proposal, please give us support wherever you can. We'd love to keep doing this with you guys for the next 6 months and keep building this into something great, something more sustainable, and just an awesome addition to Nouns that helps bring people in as artists, as builders, as Nouners, and appreciate all your support up to now as well. That's all we got for you today here on 9 o'clock live at the Noun Square. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And of course, since we minted an egg today, I don't know if we did or if we got rugged, but either way, we ended up with an egg. So I'm going to play you out with the egg song from none other than Land Before Time.
Now is the time for all good little eggs to be safely tucked into their nests.
Beastie Boys was right there, and this is what we're getting.
I'm exhausted.
Incredible.
Would you stop complaining?
But Ozzy,
No.
I'm tired and I'm hungry. Couldn't I have just an itty-bitty little green bedtime snack?
No, can't you see I'm trying to wean you away from that stuff? From now on, you've got to think, feel, and breathe only one food group. Eggs. When I wake up, first thing I do, eggs, is to look around for something to chew. Exactly. Feeding myself is very, very tricky because you see, I'm ridiculously picky. Eggs.
Excuse me, Ozzy.
This truth your mimes won't settle for the dregs. I'll borrow,
Thanks, everybody.
I'll beg,
Have a great
I'll
day.
even kiss you for my dear beloved dog.
I've got a Mario sound queued up.
Of eggs.
Hey, Ozzy, I'm so hungry. I can't wait another minute. Here's a juicy little leaf with a beautiful stick in it. Can't I have a taste? If I promise just to lick it.
Stop! What? You imbecilic eater! Great green globs couldn't possibly be sweeter than a pile of eggs. You've got to smell.
How do I not remember this song?
I'm not sure, but that's on you. Have a good day,
I think I
everybody.
repressed it.